What's up, guys? I wanted to take some time to record a quick video on my opinion about the USAPL versus IPF situation. Actually, honestly, it's not so much my opinion, it's more so just my plans moving forward, given the whole climate of everything. So, for those of you who know me, you probably know where my head's at already. I mean, I don't think I've ever valued money over legacy, or uh, money over a world championship. That's just not me. I think that money can be made. I think that it's great that that's the direction that the USAPL is headed in. I think it's super healthy for the sport. They do a phenomenal job when it comes to production and making it sick and making it fun, both for the athlete and the spectators. I think it's just an awesome all-around, really, really sick experience. And that's why it is kind of tough, because from a business perspective, not just is it fun as an athlete to compete in the USAPL, but from a business perspective, it makes sense because that's where the market is, right? The market for Worlds is way smaller than the market for the USAPL, or just in general when it comes to tested athletes and the tested market and the tested culture of powerlifting. That's where most of it is, right? I mean, I would argue that the USAPL has the biggest and most profound and most competitive tested population in the world. And so as a result, from a business perspective, it makes more sense to go USAPL. In some respects, not totally, and I'm going to get to that. But also, it would be more fun to compete as an athlete in the USAPL. Why do I say that? I don't know. I'm not going to speak on behalf of other athletes that competed at Worlds from America, but Worlds felt like a different sport. Like, it genuinely felt like it was a totally different sport. From the environment to the speed of the competition, the judging, of course, little things that all add up to create something that just felt like a different animal. And that's not even considering all the outside factors that the unforeseen outside factors that you just can't even account for until you're there. Things like food, things like sleep quality, all that stuff. So all in all, it really did feel like a different sport. And it's just because of that, it wasn't as enjoyable for me. I loved the idea of being at Worlds. I loved competing for a world championship, but it was the first time I had ever been in the middle of a meet feeling like I just want to get this thing over with. Like, I just want to be done with this damn thing already, And I think it's also because it was my first time. But and there were a couple of other outside factors that really messed with me that I just wasn't prepared for or prepared enough for. And but all that said, it's a world championship. It's not supposed to feel comfortable. It's not supposed to feel like a backyard Olympics. You know what I mean? There's supposed to be pressure. It's supposed to be uncomfortable. It's supposed to make you feel anxiety or feel some ounce of doubt. Like that's part of it. That's what a high stake competition is. That's what I want. I want to put myself in that position because that's where I grow. I learned more from the whole world's experience than I have in all of my previous meets combined. Straight up, period. And that's saying a lot because I've learned a lot, from my past meets, from a lot of, mistakes that I made. So point that I'm trying to make is Worlds is just different, and you really can't compare the two. So what it comes down to is what matters more to you, right? At least for me, in the position that I'm in, the position that I'm blessed to be in, it comes down to what matters more to me: money and having fun in competition, or building a legacy, creating history, competing against arguably the best of the best when it comes to tested population in the world, because it is a true world championship. In my opinion, it is the only true, respectable, reputable tested world championship that exists in powerlifting. What matters more to you? And again, for people that know me, they know what matters more to me. I mean, I totally care more about a world championship and being a world champion and building a legacy and using that legacy to inspire others to do the same for themselves. That matters 10 times more to me than a check. You couldn't pay me, honestly, like, I straight up, and this is, people may think I'm bullshitting when I say this, but $100,000 is not enough for me to give up a world championship. It's just not the same. To me, money can be made. Money is materialistic. It was created by man, it's not, I don't know, it doesn't do it for me. What does it for me is going through the trials, like this, the whole fucking journey of training your ass off, trying to outwork everyone, being outworked by people, and being outclassed by people and using that as like your reason to level up and to evolve and to grow and to become something better than what you currently are, that whole journey, and then for it to all culminate into that one, you get 2 hours or maybe 2.5 hours on the world stage to do what you've prepped for years for. 2.5 hours, 9 attempts, right? Anything can happen, anything can go wrong, anything could go right, and there's just something to be said about the man in the arena, so to speak. And I value that 10 times more than I'll ever value a dollar sign. And that's just me, man. I personally want to create history. I want to create a legacy. And growing up, when I looked up to guys like Arnold, it wasn't because they were rich. It was because they inspired so many people to be better. The man is a fucking champion. Like, the man was the world champion of bodybuilding, right? Multiple times. And built a business and a brand on that. And that was always my goal, So I think it speaks volumes. To me, what's louder? The check, or when you walk in a room, you don't have to say shit, but everybody turns their head and they say, oh, yo, that kid's the world champ. That means so much more to me. And to me, that speaks volumes. It's absolutely louder, exponentially louder than whatever the fuck would be in my bank account from possibly winning a USAPL meet or a money meet. So yeah, obviously I'm a bit biased because I am very strong. My opinion is very strong in the sense of which route I would go. That said, obviously I want to stay with the IPF. I want to take that further. Also, too, I think the USAPL will always be there. I think the USAPL is growing, and I love it. I love the fact that it's taking the route it needs to take to get more people involved in the sport, to grow the market, which is amazing. And that'll always be there. It's just vice versa may not. There's other opportunities coming with the IPF. I do think it can make it to the Olympics. And I think that's huge, and so these are opportunities that you don't get a lot of, right? And so I would rather go the IPF route. Worst comes to worst, I can always go back to USAPL. It may not be the case if you were to flip that, but in terms of which federation, so my approach is very practical, very logical. I am extremely grateful for everything everybody from the USVI has done for us American athletes who didn't get the chance to compete at Worlds because of the political climate between the USAPL and the IPF. And so as of right now, I'll stay with the USVI. I'm currently going to be prepping for their national championship, which is February 26th. However, I really would love to represent my home country on the world stage. It's just something about wearing the red, white, and blue. That's, as a kid, growing up, it's just something that you look up to. It's something you admire and you aspire to do. And so that would be a big goal of mine, but which is tempting. It tempts me to switch over to Powerlifting America. That said, what really is going to make or break the decision for me is when the Powerlifting America Nationals will be. So, as of right now, I want to be able to go to Worlds. And I'm assuming Powerlifting America will have a national championship in time for us to qualify for Worlds. But in the case it doesn't, I'm not going to just jump ship from USVI right away because it just doesn't make sense, right? God forbid something doesn't happen, something falls through with their nationals, whatever. I want the shot to go to Worlds. And so, again, I'm interested in potentially switching over to Powerlifting America if their nationals is soon enough where I'd have enough time to then turn around and prep for Worlds. If I have no more than a month and a half, I'm not interested, because to me, to have only 4 to 6 weeks to turn around and prep for a world championship right after a national meet, no thank you. I'm trying to learn from my past, and to have a 4-week prep basically, when as soon as we found out that we'd be able to go to Worlds and that whole situation happened, we had 4 weeks to turn around and make shit happen, and my body just hated me for it. And my performance, showed that along with obviously other factors that contributed to that performance. But regardless, I would rather compete earlier in the year of 2022 so that I can have more time to prep for Worlds than compete later in the year to qualify for Worlds and then have a short or quick turnaround. So that's what's going to make or break my decision, assuming the USVI doesn't just let us all go. They could very well do that, and they're within their right to do that. But yes, as of right now, I am prepping for the USVI National Championship, February 26th. And again, if Powerlifting America releases some information saying that their nationals will be pretty much any time between now and March, I would consider switching over so that I could get a shot at representing my home country. But if it's any date later than March, it's going to be really tough for me to swing it. You know, I would really like more than 8 weeks to prep for Worlds between that national championship and Worlds, assuming that I qualify or I'm the one that gets to go. So yeah, that's it, man. That's my take on everything. Hopefully this was not too boring and long, but yeah, I totally respect and understand everybody's position and everybody's opinion on either side of the ball. Personally, to me, a world championship just simply means more. And again, that's no knock at anybody else's opinion. It's, you know, it's just kind of how I view things. It's why I got into this. Like, I didn't get into this because I was like, oh, I'm going to use powerlifting to get rich. As I always knew I was going to be an entrepreneur and dive into business and provide enough value to accumulate wealth in return. Like that was always the goal. But the true core of me becoming a powerlifter was to become a world champion, period. You know, to me, if I'm going to do something, I'm going to go all the way, and that means becoming the best in anything I do. Whatever I do after powerlifting, and I have some ideas, like, it's going to be the same mentality going into those things in those industries. So yep, that's where we stand. Appreciate you guys tuning in, and yeah, interested to hear everybody's thoughts on what they plan on doing, especially the people who competed at Worlds, at this past Worlds with USVI. So all right, thank you guys.